Welcome to Discover Crypto. My name's Mike, and today we're going to focus on a project called OriginTrail. And I believe there is a good reason for doing so, because this is something that I think will be of interest in the forthcoming Polkadot Parachain auctions, which start in November. So I suggest, without further ado, let's dive into this project and see what it has to offer. Okay, I'm starting on the main website for OriginTrail. It can be found at OriginTrail.io, and as we can see, the project bills itself as being the world's first decentralized knowledge graph. Now, in case you weren't aware, organizations like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, they all use knowledge graphs to piece together different fields of information and data to try and build accurate pictures for what their user base is. So basically, OriginTrail is trying to do that, but for the blockchain and in a decentralized way. Now, when I scroll down, it talks about the use cases of this. Now, in the if I get to the case studies, right, so the case studies, a lot of the early aspects of OriginTrail focused on supply chain. Now, supply chain isn't always the sexiest topic, but there are many more other use cases, but I will just start here, because in one of the case studies, it confirms that OriginTrail is currently adopted and actively being used by British Standards, which is used for, issuing the standards for business and products and training certifications and protecting against counterfeiting. So this is a major use case right here. And another of the case studies, which should be of interest, is that OriginTrail has been working with Oracle, and they have provided Oracle with a network operating system as a hub that can exchange data and bring the benefits of the blockchain to enterprise grade software. And another case study I'll quickly show you here is BSI is also involved again, but this time there's an organization called SCAN, and for the uninitiated, SCAN is called the Supplier Compliance Audit Network. And let me tell you, some of the companies involved with this, I mean, wow, we've got American Eagle, Best Buy, Canadian Tire, Costco, JCPenney, J. Crew, Hasbro, what else? Walt Disney is here, Walmart, I believe Home Depot is also involved, Levi's. Scan is serious. And if we come back to the case study here, Scan assists in the supply chain data management for more than 18,000 factories, for companies that combine for more than $1.25 trillion worth of annual sales. The potential for adoption based on this is immense. And now I just want to also point out that with OriginTrail, the company has ambitions to also be involved in Web3. So this would go beyond just being a supply chain project. And Ziga Drev here is one of the founders of a company called Trace Labs here. And Trace Labs is the core developer behind OriginTrail, and the founding goes all the way back to 2014, and Yeah, and here it even says 2013. And when I was doing my research on this, I believe the initial coin offering happened in 2018 at an initial price of 10 cents per token. So OriginTrail is something that has already survived a bear market, and we're now in a sort of what we would say this is a bull market. I mean, Bitcoin broke its all-time high yesterday. Ethereum is coming towards that level. So, I mean, OriginTrail is hopefully something that will be around for the future. And in terms of the company, they're very, very active in getting their name out there and their technology and creating links with other businesses. There's something called the Trace Alliance, which has brought together, I believe, more than 90 members so far. And the most interesting one for me, most notable, is Deloitte. I mean, that's a huge member to have as part of the Trace Alliance. And if you follow any of the OriginTrail founders on Twitter or OriginTrail itself, I mean, the amount of news coming out and developments around this project it's unbelievable. And with OriginTrail, they're actually looking at getting into NFTs here. So they're seeing how they can bring the decentralized knowledge graph to NFTs, and they're in New York and they're sponsoring an event. So, and then also a big development, in my opinion, came in July when they brought on board Dr. Bob Metcalf on the advisory boards for Trace Labs. And I mean Metcalf's law is something that often gets quoted in crypto. It states that the value of a telecommunications network is proportional to the square of the number of connected users of the system. And then if you want to check it out on YouTube, it can show you diagrams to illustrate what exactly is going on. So to have the father of Metcalf's law being involved in the project is fascinating, because then hopefully he can bring his network adoption expertise to OriginTrail. And also another big acquisition for them in terms of the advisory board was to bring on Aaron Bradley of Electronic Arts. I mean, EA is one of the biggest game developers and publishers on the face of the planet. So, and then metaverse is something that, alongside NFTs, that I believe is, and in gaming, we're yet to really scratch the surface of that. So to have someone of that caliber involved is incredible. And then also there's plenty of nice things being said by the Home Depot founder. I mean, all of this information, you get it directly on the OriginTrail Twitter, so it's all easy to find. Something else I would like to bring up is that OriginTrail, right, so going back to the homepage here, they operate over multiple infrastructures. So as we can see, Ethereum, as you would expect. Interestingly, Polygon operates as a layer 2 on top of the layer 1 Ethereum. It's growing considerably. So OriginTrail also works in Polygon. I think that's a big deal. It also works on XDAI. There's been development on Substrate, which is the programming language for Polkadot, and the developer behind the Polkadot ecosystem is Parity Technologies, which is led by Dr. Gavin Wood, who was the chief technical officer of Ethereum and actually left a few years ago because he wasn't happy with the speed of development of Ethereum and wanted to launch something quicker and better suited for technology moving forward. So that brings us to Polkadot, and now we have had an announcement, which is exciting, of the Polkadot Parachain auctions. So so we're in a position now where we know that the first auction takes place from November the 11th to November the 18th 2021, and there will be 5 auctions initially. and then we're going to have auctions after that on the 23rd to the 30th. So this is a big deal. We've already seen it with Kusama. There have been some incredible projects on Kusama. I mean, the value that people have gotten for crowd loaning to Moonbeam and the Moon River tokens they got, I mean, goodness me, if you loaned one Kusama to Moon River, that's the equivalent of $4,600 there, it says. I mean, and now when I'm looking at Polkadot, there are some very competitive projects in here. Akalo, I expect to maybe win the first one. Moonbeam's going to be very competitive. It could be a competitor for the first one, could also win the second. I'm aware of Centrifuge and a Star and Latentry. Those ones would be quite interesting, I think. So with Polkadot, they were sort of brought in to the Polkadot ecosystem. I mean, OriginTrail was, and they sort of have had their arm around them by Polkadot. They've spoken at a number of events to do with Polkadot, and I sort of wonder, you know, is there cause for there to be like a common good parachain? Because there are some projects that will get this because they're for the common good, and they will sort of be assisted into getting their slot for Polkadot. But aside from that, I think there's up to 100 parachain slots on Polkadot. So I'm hoping that there's scope for, even if there isn't a common good case, that OriginTrail is a project that could work its way into the Polkadot ecosystem by eventually winning a parachain auction once things calm down a little bit. But basically there is a page, and I'm going to provide numerous links for all of you in the description. So there's a page where you can subscribe for the latest news from OriginTrail on applying to be and participate in the parachain auctions. And for the uninitiated, basically, if you contribute your Polkadot, you are temporarily loaning it for a period of 2 years. I've also seen specified exactly 96 weeks. So you're loaning it for that period and you will get your Polkadot back. But in exchange for lending your Polkadot to a project like OriginTrail, you typically expect to get rewards for that. And then it's up to you to do with what you will those rewards. Now I'm going to do some analysis on tokenomics and whatnot. So you can look at either CoinGecko.com or CoinMarketCap.com for information on this, but I'm just going to quickly explain that, you know, as of today, October 21st, 2021, we've got a price of around 77 cents, a market cap of just under 280 million, a circulating supply of just over 362 million, and a total supply of 500 million. So that shows us that there's still some OriginTrail to be unlocked, and if you want to find it, the ticker is TRAC. Now, if you're interested in acquiring this token, you can get it on Uniswap V2. I personally buy it on KuCoin. Now, there isn't a pair for USDT Tether trading, so I typically would have been going and acquiring ETH directly, and then straight after just using that ETH to buy OriginTrail. Now, according to CoinMarketCap, I believe, yep, it is. OriginTrail is also available on Bittrex, and they do actually have a USDT pair, and that's the one I'll analyze later. But KuCoin, I managed to join without doing any KYC, so that meant I didn't have to share my driver's license, passport, anything like that. Now Bittrex, I created an account there out of interest, and to get even a basic level of service, they require to have 2 forms of identification for KYC, so maybe that doesn't appeal to you, and that's why I do it on KuCoin, because I found in Bittrex I couldn't even deposit Tether without doing the KYC, and honestly I couldn't be bothered because I've done KYC in a few more trusted exchanges such as Coinbase and FTX, so I didn't really want to do it on Bittrex when I could just get it on KuCoin. It seemed much easier to me. Uniswap, of course you can use your MetaMask wallet and get it there, but there's much higher fees associated with that because of the Ethereum swap fees and transfers and whatnot. Now, I want to show something quickly here. I need to give a shout out to a site called OriginTrailExplained.info, and I'll link that as well. Now, as I explained, OriginTrail was launched in 2018, the token that is, and so basically it's explained here that all of the founder and team tokens were distributed as of January 2020. The vesting schedule was fully completed. Now this is frankly very bullish news. This isn't financial advice. Full disclosure, I am an investor in OriginTrail. It is one of my biggest holdings, and I'll tell you now, this isn't investment advice, this isn't financial advice, but the way I invest, if I find out that all of the founder and team tokens have been distributed already, I find that very bullish, because quite often there can be a slow bleed on some projects in that there is unlocks month after month or quarter after quarter, and they just get sold and sold, so it creates selling pressure, and that prevents the price from increasing, and it prevents your investment from growing like you might hope. So the fact that OriginTrail, it's wonderfully organic in that you don't have that. I mean, there will still be some distribution to come, in terms of staking and whatnot, but I mean, vast majority of these tokens have already been unlocked, so you're not going to be in a situation where you've got 30 million tokens but eventually there could be 2 billion. I mean, that's quite scary, to be honest. Whereas here, yeah, I mean, I find that bullish, to be honest. And in terms of, and there's also, in addition to the adoption of OriginTrail, as I've already explained, the token is required to participate in the ecosystem. So people bid for data jobs and then they're paid for in TRAC. So you have this usage, and that's what you need to have demand for some of these projects. You know, they need to be needed. Now, I just want to have a final look here at something for you. As I can see here, the current level I would be looking at the minute is coming up for this to break through $1. That'd be very interesting to me. Now I want to just look at the first here. Yeah, okay, so the all-time high was registered at 90 cents. That's what it says on CoinGecko. Looks a little bit higher here according to Bittrex. So this is the tether pair against OriginTrail on Bittrex. So, you know, this 90 cent level, you know, it's going to be, and then $1. That's going to be sort of the level where this heads into price discovery and things get really interesting. I've drawn a Fibonacci retracement here, and I'll be honest, most of my accumulation recently has been sort of around this sort of level here. Anytime I was slowly buying. Like, I bought earlier in the year, and then we had the bear, and I bought some when it was hitting these lows, and then I was still buying under 50 cents. If you're new to this, I mean, I do not recommend FOMOing into any project. I mean, there's just no telling what can happen. I've lost money by trying that early on. But basically, with the Fibonacci retracement, you know, you can look at it for drawing that down from the all-time high. I mean, this level here, the 236, that's pretty aggressive to be buying 76 cents. The 382, you know, 65, you know, say this comes down and retests here, flips the support, you could be looking at around 62 cents would be interesting. You know, maybe below that, you're looking at 55 cents, 45 cents. Whereas it would be really interesting to get that again. I mean, there's no telling what happens in crypto. There can be, if Bitcoin has a rocky patch, all alts go down, or the majority do, so that can be difficult. Yeah, so basically, OriginTrail, I think I already found it very interesting when I was initially getting involved back in February and through the spring, and it's something that I kept adding to my holding through the summer and even early autumn. I'm not currently getting any more where it is right now, but I'd be interested under 60 cents, certainly under 50 cents. I loved it as a supply chain project. The adoption's there, the tokens are needed, and then now the project itself is actually branching out to potentially be involved in metaverse and NFT, and you know what, they have a partnership to potentially make it happen, because the EA advisor, that's immense news. So, and then the fact that the vesting of the founders has been already taken care of, hopefully there won't be so much sell pressure. And also, I'm sure if you haven't gathered already, this hasn't been circulated across major exchanges yet. In my opinion, KuCoin is typically a jumping off point, that if a project rises above KuCoin, that's when you start looking at your Binances and FTXs and Krakens and eventually maybe Coinbase. So there's potential for growth here. So if you're interested, please do your own research. Please look into this more. I'm going to add a ton of links to hopefully help you out and show you where I've gotten my information from. And yes, thank you for watching. I've been Mike, and this is Discover Crypto. Please like, subscribe, and share to help me grow, and I will potentially cover some more Polkadot projects before the Parachain auctions that might be flying under the radar, because all of the big boys, they're already known, and maybe that's not where the potential is going to be found. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.